I Own the Club. I Own the Club is a 2010 mixtape by Indigo Vanity, who later rebranded as Big Clit. The mixtape was briefly available on streaming services like Spotify, but the tracks became unplayable over time, and the full release faded to obscurity. Known for her presence in the jerking dance craze of the late 2000s, Vanity later transitioned through multiple stage names and projects, gaining viral success in 2018 on TikTok. After being lost for years, the full mixtape was rediscovered and uploaded in high quality to SoundCloud this year, making it available for the first time in over a decade. The original Overlook hotel photo. Stanley Kubrick's 1980 horror classic The Shining is widely considered one of the best in its genre. The film features a character named Jack Torrance, who becomes employed at the Overlook Hotel. As the film progresses, he slowly starts to go insane and begins tormenting his family. Thankfully, they escape his terror, and Jack is left to freeze to death. However, the film ends on a chilling note. The camera zooms in on a photograph from 1921, where Jack appears smiling in the center of a 4th of July ball. This ending scene is left to the viewer's interpretation, and there have been many theories over the years discussing its potential meaning. While the photo and the ending are both iconic, what many people don't know is that the photo is actually an edit. The original unaltered photo for many decades could not be located. Thankfully, in April of this year, retired academic Alistair Spark and New York Times investigative journalist Rick Tolar, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your names, were finally able to trace the original image to the BBC Holton photo library, which is now part of Getty Images. The original photo was revealed to have been taken from a Valentine's Day dance at London's Royal Palace Hotel in 1921. Kiki Cruiser. This looks like something that would appear in my older videos. Kiki Cruiser is a Chinese puppet show that originally aired in 1987. The show followed a group of weird-looking toy animals who've always dreamed of embarking on a sea adventure aboard the Flag Cruiser. Suddenly, when the room they're kept in begins to flood, the toys are finally given the opportunity to do so. Only a few episodes were online, with episode 16 posted to YouTube in 2020, and an opening posted to Billy in 2021. On April 5th, user Stinking Planet from the Lost Media Archaeology QQ team, which is a thing I had no idea existed, acquired the series from a secondhand goods marketplace and uploaded the full 16-episode run to Billy the next day. Dark Castle MSX port. Dark Castle is a 1986 platforming game originally made for the Macintosh, but later ported to many platforms. In 1993, an obscure MSX2 version was released exclusively in Japan by a company called MNS Soft. This version was barely documented and became lost, with its only existence being a screenshot and occasional mentions on software index pages. Well, that changed on March 25th, 2025, when Lost Media Wiki user Trev Gauntlet New found and purchased a copy of the game from a secondhand Japanese store. After confirming it matched the specs listed in old catalogs, they archived the game and made it available on April 12th. Tip-Off, NES port. Tip-Off was a basketball game released in 1991 for platforms like the Amiga and Game Boy by Anko Software. What's strange is that David Whittaker, who composed music for Tip-Off, also has credits for an NES version of the game. This NES version was never released and has been lost media for decades. Supposedly, the game never even made it past the early development stage. Well, on April 21st, a floppy disk containing the game's early source code and music was discovered and released by Games That Weren't, a huge archive dedicated to cancelled and unreleased games. And according to the site, the NES version was ultimately cancelled when Anko ended its partnership with Imagineer, the publishers of the game. Combined with high manufacturing costs and no major backup to support production, NES Tip-Off was simply too much of a financial risk. Jumper and Singing Simon. In the Lost Media community, searches are occurring basically all the time, and the Jumper Saga, as I like to call it, was one of the most interesting. It all started on the Lost Media Wiki forums, when a user named Jupiter posted about a strange puppet show he saw as a child in the 90s. The show was called Jumper, and according to Jupiter, it featured a man and a frog character in a Blue's Clues-like format. There was no information about it online, and even the show's name, Jumper, was mere speculation. The mystery caught the attention of fellow YouTuber L Supersonic Q, who documented his efforts in recovering Jumper on his YouTube channel. I'll include his videos in the description, but long story short, he ultimately was the one who found and uploaded Jumper online. Its full name was Jumper and Singing Simon, and it was produced in 1988. Shantae Advance. Shantae Advance was a cancelled Game Boy Advance sequel to the original 2002 Shantae game for the Game Boy Color. Also known as Shantae 2 Risky Revolution, the game was developed at WayForward Technologies by series creator Matt Bozon, and would have improved upon the original, including a unique feature which would have allowed Shantae to jump between the background and the foreground. A 4-player battle mode would have also been included. However, due to the poor sales of the original game, Risky Revolution was shelved and never finished. Although a playable demo existed, Matt Bozon has stated that he was legally unable to release what he had of the game. However, he also stated that he wanted to release it to the public in some way. That came when, on July 12, 2023, WayForward announced that Shantae Advance was being revived by its original design team for the Game Boy Advance, with Limited Run Games Publishing. And around April 28, 2025, copies of the game finally began shipping out to customers. 2 days later, on April 30th, the original Game Boy Advance demo was finally uploaded to the Internet Archive by user Maxi Bash, who received the ROM from another user named Leetfrog. Cyber Soldier Shaku. Cyber Soldier Shaku is a 1993 Japan-exclusive point-and-click adventure game released for the ill-fated CDI. Developed by Inspire and published by Japan Interactive Media, the game was penned by screenwriter Akihito Izuhara. The story involves cyber soldiers, which are created to end a galactic war. Suddenly, they begin to develop human consciousness, leading the Galactic Federation to replace their memories and form them into the Fireclaw combat units. Due to the CDI being a colossal failure in Japan, Cyber Soldier Shaku became extremely rare and was never dumped online. The only known gameplay footage for years was from YouTuber Shrewman CDI, who showed off the game on hardware. Thankfully, in April 2025, YouTuber Shiro and L acquired a copy and uploaded the game to the Internet Archive, officially making it available after 32 years. Jimmy Two Shoes Test Pilot. Jimmy Two Shoes was a Canadian animated series that aired from 2009 to 2011, following a boy named Jimmy, who lives in a gloomy town called Miseryville. However, before it became a lighthearted show, a drastically different 6-minute test pilot was created in 2006. The original version of the show was set in hell, with characters like Heinous, originally named Lucifer, acting as the devil. Heloise was also supposed to be a brain-damaged serial killer with a disturbing crush on Jimmy. Ugh. The pilot was originally pitched as an edgy project for Teletoon's older tween demographic, but it was sanitized when it was reworked for Disney XD. Before its discovery, the plot apparently involved Jimmy being hit by a bus after helping an old woman. He died and was mistakenly sent to hell. For years, the pilot was considered lost and never seen by the public, with even the creators not having a copy. However, on May 4th, 2025, co-creator Edward K uploaded it to YouTube. He claimed that a DVD containing the pilot was dropped off on his front porch, and it's unknown who delivered this pilot. Big and Small. Wow, I literally talked about Big and Small on my 10th anniversary video, and it's now already outdated. Anyways, Big and Small was a children's puppet comedy show that aired on CBeebies in the UK and Treehouse TV in Canada. The show ran for 78 episodes and followed two polar opposite characters, a calm purple bear named Big and his hyperactive imaginative roommate named Small. The series was playful, creative, and somewhat reminiscent of a sitcom for young kids. Interestingly, the show had two separate English dubs, one for UK audiences and one for Canada. The British dub featured comedian Lenny Henry voicing both Big and Small, while the Canadian version featured Todd Dollarson as Big and Jason Hopley as Small. While the show received limited DVD releases in each country, most of the show fell into obscurity, especially the Canadian version. Well, that changed when users like MediaLover321 and PixarFan8695 recovered and uploaded nearly all 3 seasons of the Canadian dub online. All that was missing was the UK dub of the incredibly rare episode Spring Fling, which was finally made available on May 11th, 2025, thanks to Dailymotion user Calvin Jacks. To be fair, there's still one thing from this show that remains missing, and that's footage of the stage show Big and Small Happy Together. Maybe one day. AT&T Dolphin Tales soundtrack. What the hell is AT&T Dolphin Tales, you may be asking? Well, it was a live dolphin show that ran at the Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta, Georgia. Sponsored by AT&T, the production was a mix of theatrical spectacle, projection mapping, live performers, and choreographed dolphin routines. It followed the story of a sailor named the Star Spinner, who, after being shipwrecked by a sea monster, calls upon the audience and his dolphin friends to help him retrieve his ship. The show concluded with a triumphant musical finale and a message about respecting the ocean and dolphins. The soundtrack, composed by Emmy-winning composer Timothy Williams, featured a full orchestral score recorded in Los Angeles with a 61-piece orchestra. Despite the music's importance to the show, a studio album was never released, and the soundtrack remained largely missing for years. Fans were only able to hear fragments of it through background audio from home uploads of the show on YouTube. Throughout the years, several songs of varying quality were found and uploaded online. The full score wasn't confirmed until 2021, when YouTuber Artsy Ellie uploaded nearly the entire soundtrack. In 2025, a user named Pineapple Coffee uploaded the complete and final version of the soundtrack to the Internet Archive, after receiving the files from Timothy Williams himself. To this day, though, no full video of a live Dolphin Tales performance has surfaced. 3Diots. 3Diots is strange. It was a short-lived comedy show that aired exclusively through Nintendo Video on the Nintendo 3DS. The show followed the misadventures of Burke Edwardson and Lola Edwardson as they experienced bizarre events around their town of Somerville. The show was first announced during a Nintendo 3DS conference, to something of a mixed reaction. When Nintendo Video discontinued on March 31st, 2014, the series became inaccessible and was not re-released on the eShop, like some other Nintendo Video content. Though videos from the service could sometimes be reserved on SD cards, recovering them proved difficult, due to Nintendo's use of the Mobi Clip format. The Wayback Machine archived partial metadata, but the full episodes remain lost. Behind-the-scenes footage, promotional material, and teasers were once available on the 3Diots Facebook page, though these have since been taken down. For years, it was unknown whether any of the 6 episodes still existed in full. Well, on June 1st, 2025, all 6 episodes were uploaded to the Internet Archive by user I_lost_my_bagel. The Mitch Hedberg Project. Created by comedian Mitch Hedberg himself, this show followed him and a group of close friends on a 7-day comedy tour throughout California. The pilot never aired on television and was presumably shelved by MTV. Only a short clip without sound was available on YouTube, reportedly uploaded from a copy held by Hedberg's friend, Eddie the Possum Man Carnevale. In 2017, Mitch's widow, Lynn Shawcroft, asked comedian Doug Stanhope on Twitter if he had ever seen the pilot. This tweet seems to have been deleted, although Stanhope would later confirm the pod's existence. Finally, on June 1st, Stanhope uploaded a rough cut of the pilot to YouTube after discovering a VHS copy in his crawlspace. Making Friends Promotional Shorts. Making Friends is a web cartoon created by Emmy Winfrey in 2003, later adapted into a Nickelodeon television series that premiered in 2008. To promote the show's transition to TV, 6 promotional shorts were produced and released on Nickelodeon's TurboNick streaming platform around December 2007. The shorts were under a minute long, featuring original animation and voice work. And after the show's airing, all 6 shorts eventually became lost. Only screenshots and vague descriptions of the shorts were known, with many fans assuming they had been purged with TurboNick's shutdown. 5 of the shorts, Teeth, The Kite, Ralph, Monkey, and Number 2 Pencil were uploaded to YouTube. The sixth and final missing short, The Puppy, was made available on June 6th by Internet Archive user RLA Phoenix. The Wacky World of Tex Avery. The Wacky World of Tex Avery was an animated series created by Deke Entertainment as a tribute to the classic cartoonist Tex Avery. The show originally aired in 1997 with a total of 65 episodes produced. However, on most streaming platforms, only 52 of the episodes were made available, with episodes 53 to 65 going unaired or missing for years. These episodes never saw a home media release in English, or re-airings in most territories, leading to their original English versions becoming lost. On February 23, 2025, American TV channel MeTV Toons began rerunning the series, including episodes 53 to 65, marking the first time these episodes had aired in the US in over 25 years. By June 16th, the final missing episode had been broadcast. Wayside School. Before the 2000s cartoon, Wayside School had already been adapted, just in a form most people didn't know existed. In 1987, ABC aired a half-hour live-action special based on sideways stories from Wayside School, blending puppetry with live-action and animation. The cast included names like Bubba Lewis, Orson Bean, and P.J. Oakland, who actually played the main character named Andy. For years, only a few production stills and a short 4-minute clip uploaded online were all that remained. Then in June of this year, YouTuber Play-Doh uploaded the full special after tracking down a copy from Oakland himself. Prehistoric Planet. Prehistoric Planet was a children's edutainment series that aired on Discovery Kids from October 2002 to April 2003. It was essentially a kid-friendly version of BBC's hit documentaries Walking with Dinosaurs and Walking with Beasts, incorporating CGI to visually teach children about prehistoric dinosaurs. The show was split into 2 seasons, one narrated by Ben Stiller and the other by Christian Slater. Though only the first season was ever released on home video, the second season was never released on DVD, and only scattered evidence of its existence remained online. In 2025, DeviantArt users JamMan1998 and BVega41 recovered the second season's intro and stills from some episodes. Then in April, the final episode of the show was uploaded after being ripped from a VHS recording. Finally, on June 20th, the entire series was uploaded to the Internet Archive thanks to a user appropriately named Archivosaurus, who apparently found a rare foreign DVD release from Croatia. Show of the Week, Masquerade. Alright, so this one needs a bit of context. In 1957, the BBC made a show called The Black and White Minstrel Show. That show was pretty racist, and ironically also partially lost, as it featured singers in blackface. So some years later, it was retooled into Show of the Week Masquerade. In this version, performers wore masks instead, but the format was largely the same. The concept lived on through 1969 with Music, but Masquerade itself ended with that one-off special. Despite its obscurity, the pilot survived BBC's tape-wiping practices and managed to live on in their archives. It wasn't until June of this year that a copy was given to the Off the Turntable Music Archive, before being uploaded to YouTube and the Internet Archive. Dora Pilot. Old school viewers may remember when a clip of the Dora Pilot was found many years ago, and that was pretty huge news. Well, the entire pilot was found this year, giving us more of Dora's strange early beginnings. During the late 1990s, Nickelodeon greenlit a pitch pilot for Dora the Explorer, which featured some differences from the final version. Dora was mainly the same, but Boots looked completely different, almost like the grumpy old troll. Regardless, the pilot was accepted and helped launch the show, but oddly enough, it was never made publicly available. Throughout the years, sparse clips of the pilot would make their way online. However, in 2023, Funline Animation, who produced the pilot, posted high-quality clips of it on their website. Finally, in June of this year, it beat Funline Animation themselves to post the full pilot to their YouTube channel. And after nearly 25 years, one of the most famous pieces of lost media was found at last. Phineas and Ferb, Delivery of Destiny, Simon Pegg version. In 2013, UK fans of Phineas and Ferb got a pleasant surprise. British actor Simon Pegg voiced a one-off character named Paul the Delivery Guy. Now, here in the States, Christian Slater voiced the role for the episode Delivery of Destiny, but it was redubbed for Disney XD UK. Though the episode aired on March 7th, 2013, this version quickly became lost when Disney XD and the Disney Channel were shut down in the UK. The episode also never appeared on digital platforms like Disney Plus or Amazon, replaced instead by the US version. Well, on June 23, 2025, user Charter Schoolgirl uploaded the full UK version online. While the episode isn't a major deviation from the original, it still remains a coveted piece of lost media that is now available for UK fans to revisit. Kanye Runaway QA with Sway. It feels like every year, some piece of lost media involving Kanye West gets found, and this year is no exception. After the premiere of Kanye's 2010 film Runaway, MTV aired a live Q&A interview hosted by Sway. One of the most talked about moments was when Kanye bluntly told the MTV crew to, quote, do their job right. Another was a clip of Kanye laughing hysterically before abruptly looking serious again, which became a viral meme and reaction image. Although the interview aired live, it was never archived by MTV and became lost media. Short clips were uploaded online, only to get taken down by good old Viacom. Thankfully, on June 24th, Twitter user On That Note uploaded a full copy of the interview, which has since been backed up on the Internet Archive. Me and my friends. By now, you've probably heard the news that the Backyardigans pilot, called Me and My Friends, was found. And if you haven't, and are wondering why it's such a big deal, well, that's because it's easily one of the most infamous searches in the lost media community. I'm working on a full video about it, but for now, here's a quick rundown. Me and My Friends was a live-action pilot made in 1998 by Janice Burgess, who created the Backyardigans. It featured full-body puppet versions of the characters. The pilot was ultimately rejected by Nickelodeon Studios in favor of Dora the Explorer. Still, Burgess held onto the concept and reimagined it as a CGI animated series, eventually becoming the Backyardigans. For the longest time, only brief snippets and a handful of images were all that remained. And after a long and arduous search, the full pilot was uploaded to 4chan anonymously. Jake's Cyber Adventure. This was an educational film made back in 2007 by a group of Boston school students. It was produced as part of their cyber safety campaign. The plot follows a kid named Jake, who teams up with the cyber safety heroes to learn how to stay safe online while evading the villainous Dr. V. The film premiered in December of 2007 and was screened at several schools until 2009. Then it just disappeared entirely, except for a brief mention on the cyber safety campaign blog. But on June 29th, 2025, YouTuber The Zohan Gamer uploaded the full film after having discovered a copy. Animaniacs Hollywood Hypnotics. Animaniacs Hollywood Hypnotics was a lost Game Boy Advance game based on the classic cartoon of the same name. It was developed by Full Fat Games and was scheduled for a 2003 release by Swing Entertainment. The plot is peak Animaniacs. Brain wants to launch the Warner Brothers water tower into space and plans hypnotic speakers to distract everyone, allowing Pinky and the Brain to, what else, take over the world. Yakko, Wacko, and Dots are, of course, the only ones not affected, and it's up to them to stop Brain's plan and snap everyone out of it. The game itself was a mix of platforming and point-and-click mechanics, with levels based on movie genres like gangster flicks, westerns, and space adventures. In June 2025, a Game Boy Advance flash cart containing the full game was discovered and dumped online by the Hidden Palace, thanks to a user named Mr. Pinball 64.